we're talking about. So it will be leading self first. Before you lead others, you want to lead self first. So I'm going to be sharing my screen as usual, and we are going to be zooming very quickly into action. When we talk about leadership, one of the problems that we are constantly running into is a kind of misinformation, a kind of misconception about leadership. And when we mention the word leadership, many people always think about somebody at the top there. They don't think of themselves. They always think of someone at the top. Think of the manager, the director, HR manager, CEO, board chairman, the minister, the president, etc., etc. Yes, all of these are leaders, and they should come to mind when we mention the word leadership. However, leadership extends beyond these people, and leadership can be possible and is always possible even without an assignment or a leadership assignment. So without being appointed a leader, as a manager, as a minister, as a president, as a parliamentarian, etc., we can still lead. We can still provide leadership. And when we do, we are preparing ourselves to be able to provide effective leadership when we get a positional assignment. I'm not sure you can see my screen. Can you?
Yes, doctor, we can see you.
Very good. So tonight, we would speak about leading self first. Before you try to lead others, lead yourself. Before you try to lead others, lead yourself first before you try to lead others. Now, and that is based on one of my definitions of leadership that says that leadership is about leading yourself first and then others. And then you get a formal appointment to lead others, not the other way around. So we have seen people who have paraded themselves as leaders. And we have seen things that have been thrown out there to the air for us as leadership. But we have realized that many of those people and many of the things we have seen people do as leadership are actually not leadership. Because many of them have proved that they cannot lead themselves. Because in leadership, you can only give what you have in authentic leadership. You can go and read and come and teach. But if you want to be authentic, you have to be what you teach. And you have to teach what you are. And the leader's message is always two. What they speak verbally, what they verbalize, and what their behavior, what their character, what their conduct conveys. So your message is always two. The message that your conduct conveys, which is the much more powerful message, and the one that your words convey. And the strength of your words is based on the strength of your character and of your conduct and of your behavior. And so we have seen many people who haven't tried to lead themselves, and they try to lead others. And we have seen a lot of catastrophes because they are trying to be something that they are not, trying to project themselves as something that they are not. And leadership is both about competence and character. So we can get the competence in terms of the skills to do the things, etc. But the character aspect is extremely important. And when the character aspect is not dealt with, it will come back to haunt us. When our competence leads us up, the character, flawed character, will come back and hunt you or hunt you down. And so tonight, I want to intersperse my lesson with a quote from one of the wisest persons that has ever lived on this earth, called King Solomon. And I'm taking that quote from the Holy Scriptures, the Holy Bible, Proverbs chapter 6. Now I'm going to read to you verse 6, 7, and verse 8. So it's going to be from verses 6, 7, and 8. Proverbs chapter 6, start from verse 6, 7, and 8. Now it says, "Go to the ant, you sluggard, or you lazy person. Consider its ways and be wise." So go to the ant, you sluggard, you lazy person. Consider the way, the discipline of the ant, and be wise. 7, which having no guide, overseer, or ruler. Now, verse 8, provides his meat or her meat in the summer and gathers her food in the harvest. So here we have the wisest person on earth advising us to go to the ant. If you are sluggard is someone who is lazy, but not just lazy, but doesn't do things diligently. He said it's advising you to go to the ant and learn. What are you to learn? He said, learn the way of the ant and become wise. So there's some wisdom to be gotten or to be obtained from the ant. And what do we know about the ant? Verse 7 talks about that very clearly. What does it say? The ant has no ruler, has no overseer, has no guide. Nobody to guide him, nobody to rule over him and to control him and to order him around and to give him instruction as to what to do. But the ant is self-motivated. The ant is self-led. So regardless of the absence of a guide, regardless of the absence of a ruler, a leader, an overseer, a manager, managing director of a boss, etc., the ant is able to prepare his food in summer. Or for us in Africa, he's able to prepare his food, or he's able to gather his food or plant during the planting season, and then stores food during harvest, so that when it gets dry, nobody can plant or harvest. He will be able to have food to eat. So what are we learning from the ant? The lesson we are learning from the ant is to exercise self-leadership. You don't need anybody to goad you or to police you around, to command you around, to be able to do what is right. So you must be able to lead yourself, to do the right thing, discipline yourself, to do what is right. Then you can tell others what to do. In the absence of that, you will be saying what you are not, and that can never be authentic. And people will find out eventually that you are just trying to act. And many leaders are actors. They are on stage acting. But authentic leadership is not about acting. It's about leading yourself first. Then you can lead others. And you can give to others what you have, but you have to lead yourself. So whatever the level that you are, whether you have someone who you supervise, whether you are a team leader or you are not a team leader, whether you are a manager or you are not a manager, you may just be an operational staff with nobody reporting to you, you can still lead. If you do what is right, if you become self-disciplined, if you can distinguish between that which is right and wrong and stick to the right and resist the evil and become responsible and become accountable and have moral discipline to do what is right, and have got the courage to confront that which is wrong, even at your level, automatically you will have been leading other people. And that brings us back to my definition of leadership, that leadership is first leading yourself. And once you lead yourself by that personal discipline, doing what is right without being told, people will automatically gravitate towards you. And then when you get appointed to lead, everybody says, oh yeah, he qualifies. Oh yeah, he is the right person. So you get legitimacy because everybody knows that you are what you have been appointed to be. But the problem we've had in our part of the world is that we have got people who have been appointed to positions of leadership. They have no idea what it means to lead. They no idea at all. For them, it's a windfall gain. My party has come to power, and there are some roles. There are some board membership position, board chairman position. I've never been a member of a board, never headed a board. MD position, never been an MD, never led, but I get an opportunity. It's a windfall game for me to go and make money. So people don't concentrate. They don't reflect when they are appointed to positions of leadership. They don't reflect. They just take it. Can he do it? No. Can he handle the position well? No, but that's not his bother. That's not his problem at all. His problem is how to get to that position to gather as much wealth as he possibly can, to bring in as many of his family members as he possibly can. You know, so that the leaders we have, particularly the public leaders, those who exercise public authority and use the public purse and make decisions about the public resources, those people, many of them we have, they are just there for their belly. And the things that they are supposed to teach, they don't know. They don't practice. And that's why we have a lot of leadership catastrophe in our part of the world. And so the ant is an animal that we've all been guided or directed to lead or to study. Yeah, to study because the ant is able to lead himself. And we should be able to lead ourselves. Okay, now, so that brings me to this simple definition of leadership. And again, this leadership definition is at a very personal level. It's a definition that does not preclude anybody. It doesn't preclude anybody from leading, because here it says leadership is a special characteristic feature. It's a mindset displayed by any person in any role at any level. So it can be exercised by anybody at any level, in any role, from team leader, from operational staff, non-managerial operational staff, to team leader, to line manager, to director, etc., at any level, and under any circumstance. So these are features, behaviors that are exercised under any circumstances. So it's a character that doesn't change, and it's personified by such virtues as, number one, responsibility. So leaders are responsible people. They don't look for others to blame. They accept responsibility. When things go wrong, they accept responsibility. They don't blame others. They blame themselves why they should be sitting down when things will be going wrong. And that makes them take action. Now, accountability means that they are very happy to submit themselves to scrutiny by others who have placed them in the position. So when they do something and people have questions about what they have done, they don't see it as a bother, but rather an opportunity for them to render account and to explain to those they lead the reasons behind their action. If they are given resources, power, etc., anything, they come back to account to people who have given them that power. They don't use these resources as personal gains, as family resources, as family property. No. The other one we can talk about, we're talking about features. That when you possess these features, we say you are a leader. You are a leader, and you can be given a positional leadership, and you do well. Now, moral discipline. So they have moral discipline. They have character. They have integrity. Their yes is yes. Their no is no. If they can't do it, they don't say they can do it. Their hands are clean. Allegations will come. And when you get to the bottom of it, it comes out clean. That's moral discipline. It's not won over by money. It's not won over by things. He respects his conscience, built on good value system. And for us who are believers, built on the principles of God. So that conscience guides him in disciplining himself morally. Because when you rise up to a position of leadership, there'll be a lot of temptations. Temptations, the women who come to buy things with their body will come. Those who want to buy things with their money, buy you with their money, they will come. All of these, there will be opportunities for you to make money, dirty money, dubious money. But moral discipline will keep you above the waters. Followed by that, we have courage. Leaders possess the courage to confront what is wrong. Everybody may be saying it's good, but if it's wrong, the leader says it's wrong. It may cost you your job, but he doesn't care because he respects his value system. He respects his conscience built on good value system. And he has got the courage to confront what is wrong, even if what he is confronting is something he's already benefiting from. When he realizes that the law, the policy is not right, even if he is a beneficiary of that policy, he's got the boldness to change it. Even if he needs to step on the toes of friends and family members, if he's even going to place him at a disadvantage, he's going to change the policy. He's going to confront it. If someone related to him gets it wrong, he's not going to be shielding. He's going to be very objective in applying the policy. So leadership is hard work. And confidence. Confidence is about the confidence to believe yourself. You may not always get it right. When they criticize you, how do you take it? Do you collapse emotionally? Do you lose everything and give up? Or when you see people who are more qualified than you, more qualifications, they do better than you, they're stronger and better than you in some areas, do you feel intimidated? And do you begin to engage in what we call inferiority complex behaviors, when you begin to target people who are better than you and try to make them look worse than you? So leaders have confidence. If they don't know it, they say, I don't know it, help me. If they get it wrong, they say, I'm sorry, I get it wrong. I'm sorry, please help me. And they don't hesitate to say sorry if they are convinced they are wrong. That's confidence. If you lack confidence, you can do that. You try to defend yourself. If you lack confidence, you can't ask for help because you think that makes you look stupid. No, strong people ask for help. Now, and the other one after confidence is what? Creativity. Leaders are creative. They're always thinking of, better ways of doing things, more, new ways of doing things, better ways of doing things, creative ways of doing things. So they are not dogmatic. They're not conservative. They think of possibilities. Once we are not breaking any law, not breaking any policies, and you have a clear conscience about it, and the value system is not how do we call it? It's not broken or flouted. Of course, he goes for it, and then he had the ability to work with people. So anybody who has the ability to work with people, it's a leader. because the leader stands on two legs: the task ahead of him and the people he's working with. There are people who are strong when it comes to task implementation, but they cannot handle people. They cannot work with people. They cannot convince people. They cannot persuade people. They have no patience for people. They have no heart for people. But leaders are distinguished by their commitment to people, by their ability to work with people, by their ability to persuade people. And when people are fighting, they're quarreling, they're throwing bullets and guns and knives and machetes at each other, and the leader comes round, speaks for 5 minutes, they drop the guns, they drop the stones, they drop the machetes, they drop the knives, they're able to come together. So the leader is able to persuade other people. They develop the ability to persuade people and to work with other people. But probably most importantly, leaders are future-oriented. They look into the future. They think of the future. Whatever they are doing now, they are not just concerned about now. They are concerned about the future. What is going to happen from now onwards? So the leader acts now with the future in mind, with tomorrow in mind, and they are oriented to the long term. Anyway, that's my definition of leadership. So by leadership, we are saying these are the features. And tell me, do you need to be appointed as a manager or as a director or as a member of parliament or to be able to exercise these features? No, you can. You can exercise these features. The courage to tell the truth and not to tell a lie. You don't need to be appointed as a leader to be able to exercise these features. But once you develop these features, automatically you are a leader. You only need an appointment, and then you realize that you are soaring. So if you ask me to train people in leadership skills, apart from all these ones we know, decision making, etc., I would say focus on these character traits first and foremost, before we begin to talk about the competencies of decision making, of problem solving, etc. But these are specific character traits that every leader would need. And in the absence of these traits, we will have leaders who are competent, but they lack character. Smart accountants who outsmarts the system and still steals money, stealthily, smartly, without being caught. Now, so that is it. I'm not sure you can still hear me. Am I making sense to anyone at all?
Doc, you're making lots of sense, and I'm listening to you attentively.
Thank you very much. Okay, good. So, these are the considerations, and there are very critical questions to ask. You know, anybody trying to go into leadership, the first question is, okay, before seeking to lead others, can I lead myself? Can I discipline myself to do what is right without being told, without anybody around, without a policeman on the road? When the red light goes, will I stop? There's traffic, heavy traffic. Do I discipline myself not to use the hard shoulder and cut in ahead of others? Can I lead myself without anybody supervising me? Can I? Number two, do I provide any good example and good leadership? Now, assuming I'm appointed to a position, by what would I be distinguished or remembered after I've left the office? People don't think about that. They think about how much money I can accrue, I can amass, how many conferences can I attend, how many international travels can I engage in, how much money can I amass, and, you know, how can I fatten my bank account? You know, change my car, change my house. All these things are good, but they should never be the motivation for leadership, particularly public leadership, particularly. So By what would I be? It's about leaders they leave legacy. Leadership is about legacy for the next generation. So when you leave, you are being remembered for something you have done. All the things that you acquire for yourself don't follow you when you leave your position. What remains and follows you is the things you have done for others and for the organization that you are leading, whether it's a church, whether it's a non-for-profit organization, whether it's a private organization, whether it's a public institution, whether it's a political party, whether it's a government, whether you are an executive or legislature or the parliament, or what we call the, yes, you are in the executive or legislature or judiciary. Anywhere you are, it is the legacy that you leave behind. And then you are asking, what impact can I make and what changes can I leave behind? These are the questions that authentic leaders ask. What precedents can I set? And what legacy can I leave behind? And whose life has my leadership impacted positively? And the key question to ask is, if everybody is like me, selfish like me, demanding like me, irresponsible like me, unaccountable like me, lacks courage like me, lacks confidence like me, cannot lead themselves. If everybody is like me, how will the organization be like? In other words, what value am I adding? Some leaders have become demi or semi-gods. When they are coming, people are running ahead of them and after them, carrying their bags, doing everything, making their life comfortable. It is not about you. It's about the role. The people in your organization, they respect you, not because they call you Mr. Whatever, not because they call me Samuel Tengey, but people will respect me because I occupy a role and I'm supposed to use my role to improve upon the lot of the organization. That's why they respect me. That's why when I'm coming, they come and take my bag, etc. They buy lunch for me. Those things, they are not rights. They are privileges that I get because people think that I'm there to protect the interests of the organization. So if that is not a driving force, then I'm just a dead weight on the organization. I'm just wasting people's money. I'm wasting people's resources. I'm wasting people's time, and I'm not qualified to be a leader. Now, and then of course, we have to understand, before I conclude, I don't know how many more minutes I have, but before I conclude, I want to quote another scripture. Spare me for tonight. But in Matthew 20, Jesus Christ made a remarkable statement, which I think has a lot of implications for leadership. In Matthew chapter 20, we see one of or two of the mother of two of his disciples, they come to him. And I'm going to paraphrase what is there. And she comes to Jesus and she's telling Jesus that, Lord, you know that these two children of mine have been with you from the very start. So they've been with you. They contributed a lot. They're one of the pioneers. Now it's time for you to leave. We know that you have a kingdom established for you that's waiting for you. Now, when in your kingdom, I want two of my children to sit, one on your right, the other on your left, when you sit in your glory in your kingdom. And Jesus says, well, you're asking for a big thing. And by the way, can you drink the cup I'm going to drink? Can you go through the suffering I'm going to suffer? And can you die the kind of death I'm going to die? So we can do it. Jesus said, okay. If you can, to sit on my right hand or my left hand is not in my hand to give. God has already determined that. So I cannot determine that. It's already decided who will sit in my right hand. What you need to do, and he said, the kings and the leaders of this world, they exercise control over the people they lead. And they see the people as slaves, and they exercise control over them. But among you as believers, and I know I'm addressing a believers meeting, gathering. Among you as believers, it shall not be so. Whether it's you are leading in a church context, whether you are leading in a family context, whether you are leading in a non-for-profit context, whether you are leading a private institution, whether you are leading in a public sector institution, you are leading in a government context, political party context, you are president, minister, DC, whatever at all the position might be. Among you, it must not be so. What should it be then? But the one who wants to be the greatest must be the servant of all, must be the minister of all. And that brings me to the point. Minister means servant. So those people who are coming and they're in vehicles and there's an entourage ahead of them and behind them, and we call them ministers, the meaning of that word is what? Servant. So when the person comes with all that entourage, with all the state resources, being expended because one person is coming, and that person is not serving the interests of the people, he's a flop leader. Because most of the ministers think they are gods and they don't have time for people, but they are servants. So if you want to be greatest, you must be the minister, the servant of all. So that brings us to the point. If you want to be a leader, seek to create value. Create value for people. Value people, create value. Solve problem. At your level, solve problem. You may not even be a leader. You may be non-leader or operational, just an operational staff. Solve a problem. Help your boss. Help your line manager. Solve problems that people would not want to solve. Over time, you realize that you are working yourself into their heart. It gets to a point where they think that they don't have their brain. If you are not around, it's like they lose their brain. They don't have their brain. So they want you to be around and to solve the problems. That's the way it works. So service is key to leadership. And that will lead us to the big area called servant leadership, which we cannot talk about now. But that is it. So looking at Jesus's precedence, or the precedent that Jesus has set, it's about service. It's about service. Don't be obsessed with power, but be committed to service instead. Whether you have a leadership position or not, just serve, just be responsible, just be accountable, just be courageous, just do these things. And it's a matter of time when you are appointed, you would do well. Now, in concluding, we want to say that, you see, whatever you are doing personal branding through the service that you render, whether it's in church or at work or whatever. It's personal branding. And people are looking at you, they are observing you, you are branding yourself. The organization called you, the corporate entity called you, is being branded. Anything you are doing, whether you are a church service or you are leading a small group in church or workplace or political organization, you're branding yourself. Number two, dedicated service creates special identifiable brand or specially identifiable brand. And when people need you, they will call you because you become a brand, and people, your name will ring, in the ears of people who need someone who can provide a service at the level of quality that you deliver. Your name will pop up. So if your name is not popping up in what you're doing, you're not doing it well enough. Now, powerful brand names emerge through quality service. Like what? Sony, we all know. Panasonic, Mercedes, Jaguar, Oxford, Cambridge, University of Ghana, Gimpa. All these are names of quality. And it was not an accident. It was not by accident, because that leads us to point 4. Quality service is never an accident. It is always the result of intelligent effort. And I want you to get that. And once our concept of leadership, of course, in Africa, our concept of leadership and promotional assignment is flawed. It's completely flawed. Because we think that leaders are to be served. No. We need to correct that. Leaders are to serve. are to serve. When you serve well, people will bless you. They will love you. They'll respect you. They don't want you to leave. They'll vote for you again. If you do it well, if you serve well, you don't deceive the people. You are true to your promises, etc. Don't squander state money, etc. They will vote for you. And if they don't vote for you, they don't like you, you leave. You don't force yourself on the people. So there's need for correction of this. Now, it all starts with personal level leadership. So a new breed of leaders is required. Leaders that are committed to service is actually what our country, Ghana, and Africa, and the rest of the developing world, that's what they require. And so I want to conclude with a quote, which I would like us all to unmute ourselves and read together. Okay? So I'm going to ask you to unmute yourself, and then we can read this quote together. Okay, I'm going to count 1, 2, 3, and then we go. Okay, 1, 2, 3, let's go. Nothing happens
without leadership.
Nothing changes without
leadership.
Nothing
moves without leadership.
There's no
There is no progress without leadership.
Leadership sets the boundary to growth
in any entity.
To realize growth, grow the leadership. Otherwise, change, or there can be no growth. So let me repeat on my own. Nothing happens without leadership. Nothing changes without leadership. Nothing moves without leadership. There's no progress without leadership. Leadership sets the boundary to growth in any entity. So to realize growth, grow the leadership. Otherwise, change the leadership, or there can be no growth. Thank you very much for listening, and God bless us all.